This week on ANN, Adventists in Jamaica call on the church to be more vocal against sexual abuse and human trafficking.
The Adventist Church in South America raises awareness on suicide prevention.
And Loma Linda announces a new institute to help children who have been impacted by child abuse.
These stories and more coming up.
Thank you so much for joining us this week.
Family, Children, and Adolescent Ministry Director for the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Jamaica, Lorraine Vernal, is appealing to the Adventist community to report criminal and abuse violations.
Speaking to a group of a recent conference, Vernal told the story of a young woman who was raped and burned near her home. Although she cried for help and people heard her, no one came to help or report the incident. The woman later died.
Vernal argued that although it is an uncomfortable subject to address, abuse is a major issue affecting Christians, including Seventh-day Adventists.
Vernal asked attendees to make sure they are not putting their own jobs and reputations or those of others above reporting violence. She shared that it is vital victims are not shamed or made to feel responsible for the crime. Finally, Vernal stressed the importance of not allowing fear of retribution to keep people from speaking up, as incidents can be reported anonymously.
In reference to the common notion the abuser is always male, Vernal warned that we shouldn't laugh when men and boys are victims of abuse. No abuse is funny. When a woman abuses a male, it shouldn't be taken lightly.
She emphasized that as leaders, the Adventist Church must see attacks on children, adolescents, and adults as evil. Church members must live ethically and make their homes, churches, and other institutions safe places for everyone, especially the young.
Vernal said to the attendees, "We are resolute about our stance about breaking the silence associated with abuse and violence. Not only do we encourage all citizens to be advocates, but we offer our expertise in helping victims and perpetrators."
Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Justice, Carol Palmer, also challenged the church to do its part in ending crime, abuse, and human trafficking. She challenged members to spread the message to every nook and cranny of Jamaica to end trafficking in person.
Both Vernal and Palmer made their comments during an End It Now rally in Jamaica. You can find out more about End It Now, the Adventist Church's campaign to end abuse impacting men, women, and children, at enditnow.org.
Ahead of September's World Suicide Prevention Day, 10,000 Seventh-day Adventists took to the streets in Santa Catarina, Brazil on August 25 to promote suicide awareness and prevention. 8 countries in South America also participated in the campaign. Adventists around the region held parades and health fairs, distributed literature, and held psychological and therapeutic visits. The events were part of the Adventist Church's Breaking the Silence initiative on suicide prevention. One of the biggest events occurred in São Francisco do Sul on the northern coast of Santa Catarina. Approximately 1,000 people paraded through the city streets. The event was attended by Pathfinder and Adventurer clubs, the local Adventist college, and members from area churches. The South American division sent this report about the activities in the Brazilian city of São Francisco do Sul.
A igreja para deixarmos uma mensagem especial para os habitantes aqui de São Francisco do Sul. E nós estamos aqui do lado da vida. Então nós mobilizamos os desbravadores, os aventureiros, o colégio adventista e todas as igrejas de São Francisco do Sul. Nós temos aqui por perto de 1.000 pessoas para dizermos para a cidade que nós amamos a vida, nós queremos viver, nós queremos vida em abundância. Nós estamos com uma feira de saúde porque é um ponto de partida. Viver é você escolher também ter saúde. Também o lançamento do mês amarelo, Setembro Amarelo aqui, que é o mês em que todos têm que criar consciência de que a vida é melhor e a vida traz felicidade.
Essa mobilização faz com que as pessoas tenham um olhar diferenciado para a parte de saúde mental, principalmente nesse combate contra o suicídio, né? A campanha ela fica divulgando isso e a procura por nós no Centro de Atenção Psicossocial acaba aumentando e a gente consegue estar ajudando essa pessoa. Essa parceria foi fundamental para que a gente inicie um Setembro Amarelo, né, com mais divulgação. Isso é muito importante para nós.
Loma Linda University Health's Board of Trustees has announced the creation of the Resiliency Institute for Childhood Adversity, or RICA. RICA will be a new institute for child adversity. The new institute will facilitate student education and research while addressing community needs in the area of child abuse. The new center will be an expansion of the current Children's Assessment Center, or CAC, in San Bernardino. The center is a collaboration of numerous local agencies to provide forensic interviews and evidentiary medical examinations to evaluate child abuse allegations. The coordinated approach doesn't require an abused child to recount their experiences to several agencies in numerous interviews. Dick Hart, president of Loma Linda University Health, said in a statement, "Abuse of children has become an all too familiar story in this country and beyond. Loma Linda University Health's Resiliency Institute for Childhood Adversity will build and grow upon the reputation that the CAC has maintained as a national exemplary in caring for abused children." RICA will house a variety of educational rotations for Loma Linda students and residents. It will also serve as a hub for Loma Linda University's 3-year Child Abuse Pediatrics Residency Fellowship Program, one of only several in the nation.
The Adventist Development and Relief Agency in Australia is responding to farmers in rural communities as a severe drought continues to devastate parts of regional Australia. The lack of rainfall is causing extreme stress. While many coastal areas and capital cities have been largely unaffected, parts of regional Australia are bone dry. ADRA is working with local churches and ADRA-op shops in drought-affected areas in New South Wales and Queensland. Local churches are assessing needs in their communities and providing assistance in partnership with other organizations also responding to the drought. In the short term, ADRA will distribute cash cards to people identified as falling through the gaps. Cash cards provide flexibility. Affected individuals can choose to buy necessities such as food, stock feed, and drinking water, or they can use the cards to cover bills, medical costs, or school expenses. Long-term plans include ADRA facilitating counseling sessions and running a series of depression recovery courses.
Pastors, Bible workers, department directors, and spouses from around the trans-European region are meeting in Belgrade, Serbia for a spiritual refreshment, networking, inspiration, and sharing ideas on how to best reach Europe. The meetings are part of the European Pastors Conference.
Pastors, speakers, and trainers from across the region and global Seventh-day Adventist Church will share their vision of how to build the church in Europe. There will be honest discussion, prayer, and planning.
The Sabbath Morning Mission Appeal will tell a story of declining membership in one part of Europe, yet how 3 new innovative church plants are starting to reverse the trend.
While designed primarily for pastors, all plenary sessions will be live streamed so that leaders and members across Europe and the rest of the world can also be inspired. You can follow the live stream at tedadventist.org.
Coming up, the Adventist Church in West Africa holds its first Children's Ministries Leadership Convention.
But up next, Avondale School celebrates its 20th consecutive year of Storm Co. service.
We may look, pray, read, think, worship, sing, and share differently, but we all look forward to the Sabbath, and we all look forward to the future when Jesus will come again. With this message in mind, we arrived at a core component for a new identity system, the creation grid, a simple 7-column structure for layout. The grid is a reference both to the prophetic timeline as well as to the creation week that culminated in the 7th-day Sabbath. Regardless of what or where you are designing, you can always find information to help you communicate that we are all Seventh-day Adventists.
Welcome back.
Avondale School in New South Wales, Australia, recently celebrated its 20th consecutive year of Storm Co. service in the New South Wales town of Cobar.
The most recent trip took place during July's mid-year school holidays, with 32 students and staff members forming the 20th anniversary team.
A unique feature of this year's trip was the mentoring that took place between the Avondale team and youth from the local community.
A special surprise for the Storm Co. team from the town of Cobar was a special anniversary cake, while Mayor Brady gave a speech thanking Storm Co. for their contribution over the last 2 decades.
Storm Co. stands for Service to Others Really Matters Company, and challenges students to serve a rural community without the expectation of anything in return, while developing leadership skills in the process.
A group of students studying at the Adventist University of Plata in Argentina began an agricultural educational initiative with the support of the Institute's Technology Center. The new initiative consists of cultivating land so the students can provide healthy foods for themselves while also generating income to help pay for their continued studies. The hope is that the university will be able to grow the project and become an inspiration for other Adventist universities who want to promote similar projects. The project also directly benefits the community of Libertador San Martin, since responsible planting and management techniques are used. At the moment, the school is working with winter vegetables. They grow their vegetables without the use of chemicals. Everything is organic. The dream is that the university can be self-sustaining. If someone wants to contact the group, either to join the initiative or to request more information, they can access the Facebook page at Promised Land Project-UAP.
Sanitarium Health and Wellbeing Australia is working with Fulton College on the island of Fiji to help it become a center of influence to improve community health. A sanitarium team recently helped construct a garden nursery at Fulton, enabling the college to cultivate its own fruit and vegetables. The team also supported Fulton with a bore drilling project that will provide an ongoing water supply on the college grounds. The initiative was part of a community service day that was organized by the sanitarium in conjunction with ADRA Fiji. Sanitarium staff also volunteered at 2 local schools, doing a number of maintenance and gardening projects. The sanitarium provided healthy breakfast for 250 students and their families and donated sporting equipment and stationery to the schools. Leading up to the trip, sanitarium employees raised more than 11,000 Australian dollars for the community day. They also donated stationery and books to the schools.
From August 24 through September 2, the Seventh-day Adventist Church in West Africa will host more than 300 children's ministries leaders from over 22 countries. This will be part of the first ever Children Ministries Leaders Convention. The event is taking place in Abidjan in the country of Côte d'Ivoire. Special guests include the Director of Children's Ministries for the Seventh-day Adventist World Church and the leadership of the Adventist Church in West Africa. The Adventist Church in West Africa sent this report.
This is the first Children's Leaders Convention of the West Central Africa Division. This is the first time we're bringing together all the leaders, all men and women who are taking care of our children in different levels of the church. They have come so they can learn more how to take care of children, how to educate parents and adults, so that they will know how they can take care of our children, how they can give them the best and prevent abuse of these children. That is the objective. And today is our opening ceremony. So we have people from all over our division. They are here, and for a whole week we will be learning, we will be studying, we will be interacting together on new ways of helping our children to grow in Christ and to be better citizens.
Pass It On was the theme for this year's Global Youth Leaders Congress that took place in Kassel, Germany earlier this month.
But what does that mean in practice? Towards the end of the week, the youth leaders were asked for their views as they plan to return home.
We are here in Kassel, Germany, attending the Global Youth Leader Congress under the motto, Pass It On. But what does it mean for the youth leaders, Pass It On? We ask them.
Pass it on, share it.
Transmission of knowledge, of belief, of everything we know.
Les expériences spirituelles.
When I think of Pass It On, I think about sharing the gospel, the good news of Jesus Christ to everyone that I come into contact with. Pass it on, love.
It's a way of thinking which we should have as leaders in our church, in every level.
Empowerment.
Engaging young people. Leadership.
Embrace God and fill myself so much with the love of Christ that I am overfilling so I can pass on to others what Christ has given me.
Giving the opportunity to young people to share the good news of Jesus Christ, in ways of showing our identity as Seventh-day Adventists, showing the mission of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and becoming a leader in society wherever we are.
It means that I've been given so much in my life. I've been given so many blessings, and I want to pass those blessings on to others around me and around the world.
For me, it's gospel to be passed on. It's my lifestyle which has to be passed on. And for sure, it is Jesus who needs to be passed on to the whole world.
Passion? I think his story is his story, yes.
My thing is motivation.
Share it with someone.
Just pass what you have received from the Lord Jesus to the others who do not know about Jesus.
Each church is just one generation away from dying out. And if you don't want to die out as a dinosaurs, then we have to pass on what we have right now.
It's not mine to keep, it means to share.
For more videos on the Global Leadership Congress, visit tedadventist.org.
Coming up, Emily Mistrapa shares how your church can get involved in World Pathfinder Day.
But up next, Adventist Mission shares a story about an isolated group of people in the Falkland Islands.
I remember a young man who had all kinds of addictions. He had seen counselors and psychologists, but he began to attend one of my Bible studies, and he got to know the Christ whom I have come to love. And he was freed from these debilitating addictions because of his relationship with God.
Welcome back.
The Falkland Islands form a remote archipelago in the South Atlantic Ocean, south of South America's Patagonia coast. The islands are very rugged, boasting mostly sheep, farming, fishing, and tourism as their main industries.
How can the good news reach such an isolated people?
Adventist Mission has more.
The Falkland Islands are a quiet, pristine archipelago of nearly 800 islands. It is located off the coast of Argentina. The island's inhabitants are few, less than 4,000. They often face severe weather, such as sleet and snow, very low temperatures, and high-speed winds that blow all year. The people are also isolated. The Falkland Islands are so far off the map that it has one of the closest cities to Antarctica. How can the good news reach such an isolated people? In 2012, Leonard and Linda Westermeyer, a Seventh-day Adventist missionary couple, arrived in the Falkland Islands. This territory fosters a postmodern culture where the people have little or no interest in religion. Although there are a few churches, they remain practically empty. Many Falklanders spend their lives without ever attending a church. Besides the need to adapt to a different climate, culture, and language, Leonard and Linda had to find creative ways to present the love of Jesus to Falklanders in a sensitive way.
I think the way to share the gospel in a place that is not spiritual and that is not religious, rather I would say that the people are spiritual but they are not religious, is through positive actions. We try to practice love, goodwill, and meet people's needs to win their hearts. And when we are asked, we can then explain the things that we believe.
Leonard and Linda know that the only way to reach people is by following Christ's example. Through a variety of interpersonal and media ministries, they mingle by showing interest in the people and make friends as they care for their well-being.
We look for many ways where we can make a contribution. I started volunteering at a senior home. I pick them up from the hospital, serve them a cup of coffee or tea, and play Scrabble with them. I would visit them as a personal friend. We also established a television ministry. Initially, we wanted to do radio, but we were offered a TV channel. So we are compiling TV programs from different Adventist video ministries. Here, we have a system for transmitting a TV channel. We currently have about 20 programs that are featured. They are devotionals, health programs, exercise programs, painting, photography, wildlife, and a number of interesting shows for the viewership we have here in the city of Stanley.
Linda is an educator by training. As a service to the community, she decided to offer English classes to South American immigrants living on the island. She often invites the students to Friday evening meetings at her home.
I tell them, I want to invite you to a special meeting on Friday. This will be a religious meeting, and you are welcome to participate. It's not an English class, but it will help your English learning. And most students come and continue coming.
We were also able to work in the field of education. I volunteered as a high school substitute teacher. This has opened doors for us. It allowed us the opportunity to be known as good people who are working for positive change on the island.
When the Westermeyers began mission work in the Falkland Islands, there was no established center for these activities, so they used their own home. In their living room, they sang, taught, and prayed for God to bless the people and for an Adventist presence to be established here. Until recently, only the British could own property on the islands, but now laws have changed. The Adventist Church purchased a house with enough space to establish a center of influence and host a regular Sabbath worship program. God answered Leonard and Linda's prayers. Today, another missionary couple carries on the work in the Falkland Islands. Pastor Robeson and Elizabeth Gondim continue to labor for souls as they grow God's family by church planting. Please pray for the work in the Falkland Islands. Pray that the love of Jesus will fill the hearts of the people. And thank you for your support of Adventist Mission.
Watch this and other mission stories online by visiting AdventistMission.org, then click on videos at the top.
One of the most important outreach opportunities Seventh-day Adventists have is through our Pathfinder clubs.
This week, Emily Mastrapa is here to share how you can get involved and help celebrate World Pathfinder Day.
Did you know that there are over 2 million Pathfinders in the world? World Pathfinder Day is coming up. Join us on September 15th to answer the question, who are you? The theme for this year is identity. For those who are familiar with it, pathfindering conjures up images of marching, camping, and honors. Enlarging their windows on the world and building a relationship with God are the dual objectives of this club, which is designed for children ages 10 to 15. Pathfinder Day is a day when Pathfinders around the world step to the forefront. Pathfinders are encouraged to lead out in their churches, serve their communities, and enjoy social fellowship with their fellow Pathfinders. Talk to your local Pathfinder club to see how you can get involved. You can also visit youth.adventist.org to find more information and to download resources. They have graphics and videos that you can use to promote Pathfinder Day and also a sermon for the church service. You can also follow along on the General Conference Youth Department's Twitter and Facebook pages at GC Youth Ministries.
And finally, for today's episode, let's turn to David Trim for a look at Adventist history.
This week in Adventist history, we focus on the beginnings of Adventism in Argentina
and a remarkable early example of total member involvement. On August 26, 1894, Francis Westphal, known as Frank, a German-American missionary from Wisconsin who had recently arrived in the Argentine capital of Buenos Aires, left his family there and traveled north, heading for Entre Rios province. His journey was to have momentous consequences. In the town of Crespo on September 9, 1894, he organized the first Seventh-day Adventist Church in Argentina, the first in the territory of what is now the South American Division. The next month he organized two other churches, one in San Cristobal in Santa Fe province and the third back in Buenos Aires. These new churches could be organized so quickly because Westphal at this stage was not yet evangelizing. That had already been done by a layman called Georg Riffel. Georg, known as Jorge in Argentina, had already won a number of converts in Entre Rios. Riffel had been born to an ethnically German Mennonite family in Russia, but had emigrated, first to Brazil and then to Argentina. But after several years there, he had emigrated again to Kansas, where he was converted and became a Seventh-day Adventist. But as Frank Westphal later wrote, Georg's heart was always with his German brethren in South America. And as a result, Georg and his wife Margaret gave up a very rich farm in Kansas and moved back to Argentina, where Georg began studying the Bible with his neighbors. Eventually, he wrote to the General Conference reporting that he had baptized 50 people. The response, when it came, was a rebuke, telling him that only ordained ministers could baptize, to which Riffel replied, "Send us a German-speaking minister." Westphal was the minister who was sent. Today, those first three churches have grown to more than 27,000 congregations in the South American Division, which have a total membership, as of June 30, 2018, of 2,471,483. This is the ultimate fruit of the labors of Frank Westphal and that dedicated lay member, Georg Riffel.
Thanks for watching ANN. Join us next week for more news from the headquarters of the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
We'd love to hear from you. Send us your feedback and tell us how your church is making a difference in its community.
Be sure to capture plenty of video footage and photos, then write up a summary of the event's important details, and feel free to send full video reports as well.
You can reach us by sending an email to annvideo11@gmail.com.
Before we say goodbye, here's some good news from the book of Isaiah, chapter 49, verse 13.
The passage says, "Heavens, raise the roof, earth, wake the dead. Mountains, send up cheers. God has comforted his people. He has tenderly nursed his beaten up, beaten down people."
That's our program for this week. And remember, you can always visit news.adventist.org for more daily news and videos. Until next time, God bless.
Take care.